Okay, everyone, I've got a guest with me. This is Metallica Mom. Her name is Andrea. She's going to be introducing herself and like sharing her story about Scentsy, but this is so cool how we connected. So I've been covering Scentsy, that multi-level marketing company that sells wax melts and warmers. And I've been doing these really lengthy live streams. And I noticed somebody in the chat, Metallica Mom, and I'm like, the handle is just so awesome. And then she was always providing really interesting commentary because she was in Scentsy. And so, just the banter during the live stream, it's been great. And then like I just kept, she's in the comments of the various live streams, and it's just adding to the community and discussion around multi-level marketing. And then she reached out to me on Instagram, and she'd actually made a video a couple of months ago. And I'm going to link it below for you to watch if you want to go see it. I highly recommend it. She's so funny. Oh my God. And she has a really nice cat too. All right. So with that being said, Andrea, please introduce yourself and tell us your story.
Hi, how are you? My story. Well, it started back in 1972. I'm kidding. In 2014, I fell asleep with a candle burning. And thankfully, nothing bad happened. But when I woke up and I saw that the candle was still burning and the cats were still alive and the children were still sleeping, I went, holy shit, that can never happen again, like ever. So I literally Googled wickless candles because I had heard of wickless candles. And this is the way a lot of Scentsy consultants sort of started. Nobody joins Scentsy saying, I want a business. They say, I want my house to smell good. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I bought a kit. I wasn't even indoctrinated. I wasn't recruited. I went on the website. I was looking around. I had put a couple things into my cart. And I hit the kit just to wondering what was in it, because I wanted to smell all the things. And the kit comes with like all the fragrances and a couple of warmers and some hand lotion and this and that, blah, blah, blah. I said, fuck it. It's cool if I curse, right? I know it's you, right? So I bought the kit. And back then, 2014, so that was 11 years ago, Scentsy's rules were that if you did not become active within 3 months, you were out. So within 3 months, I was out because I wasn't looking to sell. I just wanted to buy some stuff for myself. I didn't even go active at all, right? So then about a year later, a friend of mine said, hey, have you ever tried the Scentsy stuff? And I said, yeah, actually I did. And I still have some stuff and I'd like to buy some stuff. And she said, well, why don't you just reinstate? And I went, okay, just so you know, I'm not going to be selling it. I'm just going to be buying it for me. Okay. So in 2015, I rejoined. 3 months later, went inactive, of course, because I wasn't looking for a business. And then a year after that, another friend comes up to me and says, hey, have you ever heard of the Scentsy stuff? And I say, hey, yeah, in fact, I'd like to buy some stuff for myself. And I rejoined in August of 2016. And in August of 2017, I hit director. And in August of 2018, I hit star director. So for some reason, the stars just aligned properly, correctly, but now in hindsight, Julie, I'm going to ask you to be sensitive with me because I'm still deprogramming and I can get a little emotional about it because I don't have as much bad stuff to say as a lot of the anti-MLM stuff, and I'm not going to sit here and try to.
Yeah, and you don't have to. Okay. And I understand, and it's okay. There isn't, I think it's really important to say this, is that there's not a box that you need to fit in and you have to say A, B, C, and D when the overwhelming narrative is saying A, B, C, and D. You have a lived experience. It's very important that that's given voice in order to show what's actually going on in reality. So I really appreciate, you speaking out about your experience, and that's what this is about. So right. I just want to say that.
Okay. So then I guess by 2021, I had like 275 people on my team. And that was a lot of responsibility. A lot of that happened with COVID. People were home and people were buying a lot of wax. And I was still loving wax, but as the years went by, I just started to hate the cult culture. it got stronger and stronger. And as the whole COVID thing started to come back down this way and people were going back to work, it started to just infuriate me. It wasn't just that I felt like that wasn't me and that's not my thing. I started to get angry about it. And I also started to get angry, to be perfectly honest, and it's one of the reasons why I haven't come out on my own channel so much, because I started to get angry with my downline. And I didn't like that. I didn't like being mad at them for why aren't you doing it as well as me? And that sounds so conceited, and that's terrible. But all of my upline were saying to me, but you're so good at it, have them do good at it. And I'm like, well, I have 2 kids. I can't get them to clean their room. How am I going to get people to sell wax the same way that I do, you know? And to be perfectly honest, nobody can be me because nobody can be you. Nobody can be anybody else. I tried to teach them how to do it like I did it, but I didn't like how, you know, they were having me have people join this like leap to lead and dash to director and train your brain and all this kind of bullshit. And it was like all these self-help books and self-help people were like, half of their content is, I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'm going to teach you how to do that. And you don't learn anything. You get frustrated before you even learn anything. I just started to get really frustrated, and I needed to let go of that negativity. I needed to. And then, unfortunately, we had a shift in financial situation in my house. So the whole time I was building my Scentsy business, I was the wife of an executive. And then in 2023, I was no longer the wife of an executive because my husband's business got consolidated down and his position was liquidated, right? So all of a sudden I had to raise my hand and say, okay, I'll do this. I have a mortgage. I live in New York City. It's impossible to live here and not make a lot of money, right? So I went and I got a full-time job again. And within a week, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Trying to sell wax, making 25% on a $6 bar. It just didn't make sense for me. And I think that not in hindsight, but I think that that's another reason why, there's a lot of reasons why Scentsy has not taken off in New York. And that's one of the reasons why, because the income is so low that you can't make a living. You literally can't make a living unless you are the wife of an executive and you're buying a lot of wax. I was buying a lot, like too much. That's not enough. I'm not going to make myself feel bad about that because that's in the past. But I said, you know what, I don't have time for it. And I let it go. And it's been the best thing ever to let it go. And that's not to say that I don't still have friends that sell Scentsy. There's a huge wax community on YouTube. And it's not there. A lot of them are Scentsy consultants, but they don't sell it. They just use it for themselves. And I am still part of that community. I have made one purchase of Scentsy since I left, but now I've since canceled my club after the past couple of weeks. I can't support it. I just can't support it. Unfortunately, I can't support my friend anymore because she's the consultant, but I can't. If they went affiliate, maybe, you know, but that's like, you know what I mean, right?
Can you talk about you mentioned Scentsy Club, and I know there's going to be a lot of people watching this from Scentsy, but people outside of that. And when I watched your video, I kind of understood, but can you just explain it to everyone, please?
Sure. So Scentsy Club is something that was initiated in 2018. And what you can do is you can sign up for either a 1-month delivery every 2 months or every 3 months, quarterly, right? And if you have the same things that you buy all the time, like let's say laundry detergent, body cream, they don't sell body cream anymore, it doesn't matter, wax, cotton balls, that kind of thing. You can have that stuff, and it's only consumables. It's not, warmers. It's not buddies or anything like that. You can have it shipped to your house automatically, and you can change around your club. You can put stuff in, you can take stuff out, and it's not really a huge savings, but it's still a 10% savings. It's not about that. It's that it just comes to you every single month. But the thing about Club is that it has this feature called Always Get My Bar. Okay. Now, Always Get My Bar means if you signed up for a club and let's say lemon verbena was in there and then lemon verbena goes discontinued, they will quote unquote always make your bar for the rest of time until you take it out of your club. If you decide to cancel your club, you can't get it back. So once you have the Always Get My Bar on your club, then you have to keep it there and you have to continue to buy. And they really get you with that. It has to do with the addiction that people have to wax. I think a lot of these consultants who stick around being consultants, I think a lot of them have a shopping thing. I'm not putting anyone down and I'm not trying to judge. I really am not judging because I had it, I was there, and I'm not saying that I've overcome it. I have my problems, you know what I mean? But with the Always Get My Bar, it causes people to just hang on to Scentsy for so long because Scentsy even says, we're never making this again. It's going in the vault and you're never gonna see it again. So you better keep that club open and you better only skip it once a year or else you're gonna lose it forever. It's very manipulative. It's threatening, if you ask me. It's because there's PREY, preying on vulnerable people, and they have added a caveat to that where every 6 months they come out with this campaign called Bring Back My Bar. And you can vote, and I'm saying all this with air quotes. A lot of you are probably listening to this with headphones on. You're not seeing me being sarcastic. This is my visual sarcasm, right? You vote in what you want for Bring Back My Bar, which I think the voting was bullshit anyway. They would just make the wax that they could get their hands on, right? So you vote in these Bring Back My Bars, and all of a sudden there's exotic vanilla, and exotic vanilla hasn't come back in 12 years. So then all of a sudden you're voting, and every time you vote, they get your email address and they're sending you more bullshit spam, right? And then all of a sudden exotic vanilla comes back and you say, okay, I'm the one who voted for that. They're making it for me. I'm gonna keep this forever. In fact, I'm gonna put 10 bars into my club. I'm gonna get 10 of those bitches, right? And then you don't wanna warm it because you don't want it to go away forever. You don't want to use it up, right? So then it's sitting in a fucking closet and you're not even using this shit.
This is so relatable to me. So I think that's like, no, that's good. I think it's genius on their part to offer that, because there have been so many products in my life that if they had offered that somehow, some way, some company, I'd be like, yes, because then they just discontinue it. I've talked about, like, there was a Germac shampoo years ago. It had a gold top lid. It made my hair smell so good. This is like 1993. I still think of this stuff. And then they discontinued it. I used to like that L'Occitane, or however you say the name of that. And it was this rose scented body lotion. It smelled so good on me. I'd like put it on my, like, between my boobs, and it's like the heat would make me smell so good. And I would walk into rooms and people would be like, what is that smell? That smells so good. And they change the ingredients. So I get that. Like, that is so smart on their part. And I can also understand when you buy something, I also have that tendency to hold on to it and not use it. Clothing, like all kinds of things. It's just like, I want to say, I don't know what the hell I'm saving it for. So it's interesting. There's these normal tendencies, I think, but then also, like, coupled with this kind of addictive stuff, that is smart on their part.
On their part.
Yeah. You also mentioned a wax community on YouTube, or just a wax community. Now, I had done a piece of content on, it was a scrapbooking kind of thing. I can't remember the name of it. And there's like a huge community of that too. And I'm just so completely unaware of that. So where these communities kind of like dovetail in, or they kind of move into MLM, where there's this legitimate thing, but then, and it's like this real community, but then this MLM exists kind of in the same space. Can you talk about that? Because I know a lot of people just don't know about that.
Yeah. So, to somebody who doesn't really love home fragrance, and literally, I've always loved home fragrance. I've always loved essential oils. I never got into the Young Living or any of that, please. And I say that like it's better than me, or it's not like I'm better than it. Forget it. You know what I mean? So people who love home fragrance don't just love home fragrance, they love to talk about home fragrance. And a lot of times we're buying these things online and you've never smelled it. So you want to find somebody, or at least you find yourself looking at people specifically on YouTube, who maybe have the same kind of decor as you, if you have vaulted ceilings, if you have large rooms, small rooms, whatever. And then everybody has their own sort of scent profile. Like for me, I love a vanilla, I love a patchouli, I love an incense. Other people, they kind of like that bakery shit, the cinnamon, the apple, the pumpkin. That's not me. And so you find your tribe, right? And then you can talk about your experiences with the wax. And that's literally the whole way that I sold like $1 million worth of Scentsy. Wasn't $1 million. But the way I used to sell Scentsy is I would turn on the camera and I would talk about what I was smelling, and I would smell it. And I can honestly say that I was genuine with every single one of my videos, because when I smelled something that smelled like poop, I would say it smells like poop. And I would say, you might like it, but I just really don't. Oh, you know what? This one smells like vomit, and this one smells like baby's euconium. And then, you know what I mean? And it was like, but then when something smelled good, it really smelled good. And I really tried to not exaggerate it, but I really tried to also, and that's kind of difficult when you're trying to convey the idea, because of course I wanted people to buy. And now in hindsight, I feel so icky that that's how I sold it. But anyway, so the wax community. So you develop friendships, and you develop, and they're not colleagues because I don't sell Scentsy anymore, but we still have this sort of kinship. And now that I have stopped selling Scentsy and I need to buy wax from someplace else, and I really don't want to support large stores. I don't want to go to Target and buy it. If I can find a small business that's making it in their garage or something, I'd rather do that, just because, you know, that's just universally, that's a good thing to do. And so I tapped into this wax community that I was in and out of before I left Scentsy, and they're very close. They were online last night for 2.5 hours doing a whole panel, and they're talking about wax. It's like, and as I'm watching it, I'm thinking my husband's going to think I'm an idiot because I'm watching this thing. But I'm one of those idiots right now. I'm talking to you about wax.
Well, you got another idiot listening to you, so you're in good company.
We kind of sell to each other, even though nobody's making any money. We're selling it to each other. And if that seems a little pathetic, then I mean, that's the truth. And if I make if I lose a couple of friends because I'm on this video because I'm saying it like that, then that's fine too. I'm telling the truth. I think that people buy too much, and I think that they hoard it. And I don't think that they are hoarders, but they are hoarding wax. And they are overbuying, in my opinion. How much wax can you melt, and why? Why are you melting wax in an empty room? And they are. They're melting wax in an empty room all day long. And it's just consume after consume after consume. And it's kind of like, and that's another reason why I wanted to step away from Scentsy too, because I was promoting that behavior to my downline so that they could keep their numbers up. Well, why aren't you using the shit yourself? And why should I do that when I don't believe in it? Why should I tell them to buy something that I'm not buying for myself because I think that it's overpriced and it's bullshit? I don't want people to ever think that I'm a hypocrite. And I have been a hypocrite in the past, and I feel like as long as I make amends, I'm cool with him, whatever, you know. I don't want to get there, but you know, yeah, I just did. If I'm anti-MLM, why am I buying it?
It's interesting, you know, like the video that I watched that you made, like there's just such this excitement. I like, it was called Proud Hypocrite. It's so awesome. It's just, you're so funny. I would love to go to a concert with you and then drink coffee. Do you drink coffee?
I do drink coffee, but I drink other stuff too.
Okay, I don't drink other stuff. I just drink coffee. So I would be drinking coffee and I would just be howling with you. I think you're just so funny. But you know, you were describing how, you know, well, I'm purchasing these products. I really like them. And you can see there is this, so many of us go through this. We have a similar experience where we really love these products. And it's like, it's just kind of letting go You know, there's a journey of letting go that we all kind of go through, and whatever it looks like, you know. So it sounds like you're on the where you're at right now is you just are not wanting to purchase from Scentsy. Is that right?
Yes, I do not want to, I don't want to support Scentsy at all anymore. I'm not huge on, I don't know if I want to bash them either, only because I did kind of make a living for a while. I was working 24/7 to try to make that living. I was making posts on and that's the other thing. In order to make a living on social media, you have to be on social media 24/7, and you have to exploit everything in your life. And my kids were, it was 11 years ago, so my kids were like, 8 and 10 when I joined MLMs. And I would document everything that they did for everybody else. And am I thankful now that I have Facebook memories and I know that what they were wearing on the first day of second grade? Sure, whatever. But that's not really why I was posting it. I was posting it, and I'm just being honest, posting it so that I'm relatable and so that people would trust me, so that when I say Luna is the best fucking bar of wax you've ever smelled, they're going to buy it. And because they know that I'm being genuine about that. I tried not to, like I said, I try not to be disingenuous ever. But now in hindsight, maybe I was a bit, but again, I can't beat myself up. I'm done with that. I don't sell stuff anymore. And I really don't ever want to. And I've been told that I can sell like sand to a camel. But I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to sort of sell my soul in order to put, and other people are great at it and they have no problem with it, but I don't want to. And also when I quit Scentsy, I had a lot of people contact me saying, you need to join the anti-MLM community. You need to make a video about this. You need to do this. You're great at it, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And you guys do a fantastic job at that. I don't need to break into that market. You know what I mean? One of the reasons why I respect you is because your videos are not monetized. And I'm not putting down any other creator that is monetized, because listen, if you want to make $400 a month, put some ads in your videos. But I respect that you're really doing this with good intention and not to profit on other people's struggle.
Thank you. And I think, I agree. Not everybody should speak out, and I don't want to do this forever. At some point, I always talk about, I've been saying this for years now, and every time something happens, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I've had enough. I keep kind of bringing stuff up and beating myself up about it. And like, what point is this serving? And then I'll get rejuvenated, like I'll talk to someone like you, or, I'll have an interview, and then I get like, oh yeah, this is so great. But I know there was two of my friends that we kind of exited. I exited and then they exited, and they were from the cult I was in, the coaching cult called Rank Makers, and Jennifer Ryla and Michelle Culberson. And we were, three of us in this chat, like all the time, just supporting each other. And we're just you're like kind of groping in the dark blindly. And we were, if you want to speak out, you can. If at any time you want to stop. You get to decide what you want to do. And I really believe that's so important for people leaving a high control group. You can't be telling them what they should or shouldn't be doing, especially when they've just left, and I also believe that it's not even just when you leave, you change. You don't need to now adopt another identity and act a certain way. I believe you need to have the freedom to just do whatever the hell you want. And how you want to do it, So, and I also want to say too, like I have a lot of reasons why I don't monetize my content, and that is one of them, because I know it will connect with certain people. It will land. The message that I'm trying to say will land louder. And also, I've made it really clear. I support people who monetize their content. I'm like a Patreon or whatever. I 100% support and recommend their videos. The way I look at it is, it's like you're part of a grassroots team, but you're just all doing your own thing. And as many different voices you can have, like talking to different people, the better. And that's how, like, my corner of that is this. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're very good at speaking and conveying an idea across to people, and you probably could sell a lot of Scentsy if you wanted to. But see, my thing about like what you said with rank makers and the people who try to coach you on how to coach, they say you could take this to any level that you want. But then if you back up a little bit, they go, wait, what? Wait, but you're doing so good. Why would you stop doing this? My one of my upline, I'm not going to be specific, but one of my upline actually, she DM'd me on Facebook about an hour after I had made a post like 3 or 4 months ago saying, you know, Scentsy is just, they're digging their own grave. And I try not to be too negative. And she DM'd me and she actually said, why are you doing this? Did I do something wrong? And I'm like, how fucking narcissistic do you need to be? Why would you think that I quit my job because of you? Like, there has to be some sort of understanding where if I don't want to do it anymore, just let me go. And then, you know, and they did. I appreciate that. But also the people in Scentsy who found out that I quit, they gave me a little bit of shit too. And then the people who were like, quitting Scentsy and who had quit Scentsy, they were giving me shit for not being out loud enough. And I just felt like I felt friction from each side, up and down, left and right. And for a couple of weeks, I was just like, you know, I'm out of here. I can't. I can't. People take shit way too seriously. It's wax. But I say that, but wax was my life for 8 years, really, because the first 2 years I wasn't doing it, you know. But for 8 years, wax was my life, and I took it way too seriously. Scentsy consultants have a phrase that they say where I bleed purple because their Scentsy's color is purple. And I wish I could go back in time and say and figure out how many times I actually said that. And I find that absolutely disgusting.
God, people said that in rank makers too because the color was purple. I'm just not even joking. All cults are the same. They all do the same stuff.
Yep. So, you know, whatever. I did bleed purple for a little while. I won. I earned trips. I went to the Mediterranean for 8 days on a cruise. And supposedly it was on Scentsy, but it really wasn't because I had to pay tax on that incentive. And it cost me another $4,000 on top of that to fly in and out of Barcelona whenever I wanted, whatever. I earned trips. I earned money. I earned luggage. Everybody wants the Scentsy luggage. Now I can't, I invited my cat to piss in my Scentsy luggage. But, you know, I can't do that. The cool thing, I will say something very cool about my experience with Scentsy is that I did make a couple of friends, not a ton. They were friends while I was in Scentsy, but then when I wasn't in Scentsy, they're not my friends anymore, and that's okay. I made a couple of really good friends, and I was able to overcome a public speaking thing that I had. And at the last event that I spoke at, there was about 1,000 people, and I'm standing in front of a room talking to, and I'm like, is this me up here? I can't even, what is going on? But meanwhile, I'm talking about wax, you know what I mean? So it's not like I was talking about anything really important. There are some good things about the company. I like their product, and they let me quit without it costing me any money, I guess.
Hey, I just wanted to offer this to you. I know, you know, there's something to be, you know, said for taking accountability and stuff, but I detect that, you know, there's that tendency that so many of us have of putting ourselves down, you know, like you need to do that in order to be kind of worthy or something. And, you know, you spoke in front of 1,000 people and the topic is irrelevant. Like you did that. And that's something that's you. And that deserves, you know, that deserves to be applauded. So I just see so many of us, we have to put ourselves down continually. It's like this MLM hangover. So I just wanted to give you credit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, I mean, because I also have a YouTube channel, right? So I have a couple of videos that have like 20,000, 30,000 views, this and that, blah, blah, which is great, whatever. But it's just me and this, and talking to the camera, you know what I mean? When you're standing in front of people, it's like, wow, you know, but they were all bleeding purple. So I could relax and say, okay, this is my tribe. But now that I'm not in that tribe anymore, I don't want to put anybody down, but I was being disingenuous in hindsight. So.
I think that's the thing too, that more and more people are realizing, is that when we're in one of these, when we're in an MLM, we really believe the stuff. You know, you don't think that you're being disingenuous. You don't think you're lying. It's not like, I'm going to say all this stuff and I just know it. It's like, that's not the case at all. I wouldn't be behaving like this if I didn't 100% believe it. Of course, looking back, I'm like, wow, I actually didn't believe it. But you don't see, well, for me anyway, I didn't see it at the time. You know, it's just this strange thing. So I'm glad that you're talking about that. How is it with, do you have any connection with Scentsy now, or how are you navigating this? Because it sounds like, you know, it was messy. Oh my God, all this stuff is always messy. I think one of the good things is that one of the things that we all have to learn is like, it's okay to disagree, and then you can still get along, you know. But it can get really messy in the fallout of leaving an MLM.
Okay, so the messiest thing that I saw, the thing that I saw the most potential to become messy was my downline. And I hated calling them my downline because it sounds like I'm speaking down to them, like they're working for me. And I also kind of hated calling them my team because we were not working as a team. There was very few people who lived around near me, and even if they did, I don't know what their living room looks like. So how are they a team? They signed up under me. See, now this is where it gets weird, and this is why I need to be very careful with my language. They sign up under me, or they sign up under the person that signed up under me, or they sign up 10 deep, right? And then they aren't doing well. They're not selling wax. And so then they go into these little Facebook groups and they say, my upline sucks. My upline doesn't help me. And I'm like, wait, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to buy the wax from you? I mean, I whatever. So I had gone through phases for the 8 years. I had gone through phases where I would feed them everything that they needed to do, or at least everything that I thought that I needed to do. I would invite them to watch my social media, copy it word for word, and post it for yourself. And sometimes they would, and sometimes they wouldn't. But when I was making posts on social media like yourself, I tried to make it as me as possible. So when somebody, when Jack Black takes, Metallica Mom's post and says, blah, 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 that's not genuine, and people can see right through that. So that's why, I mean, it would never work. So then when I decided to leave, I'm sitting down and I'm speaking to my family about, like, how the fuck am I going to do this? How am I going to leave and not have them think it's their fault, but it kind of is. But it's not, right? It's me, right? And then what do I do about my customers? I'm selling a ton of wax. Like, I'm just going to walk away? And you know what? I just had to walk away. I'm not going to sell my client list. I'm not going to sell the people that are deep to me. I just let it roll up and just left it alone because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't even talk to them before I did it. I sent an email the morning that I sent the email to Scentsy saying cancel my account immediately. I sent an email to my downline, and I sent an email to my customers. It only took about 6.5 minutes for me to quit and just separate. But there was so much anguish leading up to it. And then for a couple months later, people were messaging me, not how could you do this, but kind of. It's like, again, it's just wax. I also, I sold, pretty much all the wax that I've ever sold was online. Big on Facebook. I'm 53, right? So of course I'm on Facebook. And of course, everybody who's 53 is on Facebook. And I did almost everything online and on YouTube, right? So then all of a sudden, like, if you think about it, a lot of these people, I don't like saying these people, a lot of the higher ups in Scentsy who sell a ton of product are doing vendor events and parties. And I'm from New York, as I said. We are skeptical as all get out. And I think I've probably sold $1,000 worth of stuff in person my entire career. Nobody wants to talk to an MLM person. That's just part of our culture, is to just be like, you're showing me that you're selling me that, but what are you really selling me? That kind of thing. And I had trouble calling them a team if they weren't physically a team with me. And not many of them were like-minded as me. Some of them were more evolved than I am, which is great. But I had trouble connecting with my team. I really did. And then I said to my upline, well, I'm thinking about maybe just becoming a consultant and just selling to myself. And she's like, okay, that's great. And then I'm like, but if I'm not supporting this company, why should I do that? I can get wax anywhere. I can buy a candle. Well, still haven't burned a candle in my house. And I still refuse to burn a candle. And those can burn candles over there, and I will warm wax over here. As you know, as a matter of fact, I have there's Scentsy all over my house, right there. I still have it. I don't believe in candles, and that's why I joined in the first place. So, and when they came out with candles, I pick up my iPad and I show it to my 20-year-old son, and he goes, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "It's a Scentsy candle." I shit you not.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, what is your take on this, them having candles now?
I think it's so hypocritical. Before a month ago, candles were Satan. And now they're going to save that company. And it's a Band-Aid for them. I believe it's a Band-Aid for them. I think that it's sad. And for those who want to burn candles, that's fine. I really have nothing against you burning candles over there. I have two brothers that are firefighters. I don't like candles in my house. I get nervous about using my stove. I choose not to do that. And I would never be able to sell a candle because I don't believe in it. I can't sell a Ferrari because I've never owned a Ferrari, but I've got a Ford Flex out there, total mom mobile, and I bet you I can sell you one because I believe in it, you know? And all these people, they were all burning. A lot of them are coming online and saying, you know, I was a closet candle burner. And I'm like, really? That's interesting. How come you said that you would never burn candles? But how do you take them seriously after that? I can't. It's their choice, not mine.
I'm just so blown away how together you are about having been in this, because when I first exited, I could barely speak out. I was so mad. I didn't even know where to start. So I'm just so blown away. I'm really impressed. And I like that, you know, you're having this ability to have empathy for people that are still in. And I think this is the thing. MLMs are such a weird thing that we need to have nuanced conversation about it. And I know that can sound like, oh, it's this nuanced conversation, you know, but you really have to explore all the gray areas here in order to get through to people, to hopefully get them to just take a look at why they're really in there, what they're really doing. Because a lot of people will believe they're making decisions with their, you know, free will. No, this is what I totally believe. But like so many of us afterwards, I didn't give consent for this. I don't know why the hell I was behaving like this. So I think it's important how, you know, when you describe your experiences in different ways, it's going to get through to more people.
You know, if I was to make any anti-MLM content, I would probably, my key focus probably wouldn't be careful with your downline, teach them properly, this and that, blah, blah. Fuck downline for a second. Just put it over there, table it for a minute. Scentsy starts you at 20%. How much do you need a month for it to call it a job? Can you sell $10,000 worth of Scentsy in a month? $6 a bar? Can you really? No, you have to have the downline in order to really make some money. So in order for me to maintain my living space here with my mortgage and my car, and I have a son in college and this and that and blah, 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 I want to be the breadwinner right now, right? How much wax do I need to sell to make $5,000 a month? How many hours are there in a day? How many days are there in a week? And how many bars of wax can I sell? I can't. Bye. That's it. That's all I really need to make up my mind about it. Then, like you said, you have to have those careful conversations because there is downline involved. And I didn't want Scentsy to accuse me of discouraging them. That's another reason why I had to walk away and not really say anything, because I didn't want to breed negativity in people who were possibly making a little business for themselves. I'm not going to stand in the way of that. But take it from somebody who's been there, it's fucking hard to make enough money to support a family. Even if you're, even in the trades, this is not trades, you know what I mean? I'm a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist since I'm 19 years old, okay? So when I joined Scentsy, I actually ended up having a hip replacement because I had done so much massage. I was a mobile therapist. I was carrying my table everywhere, in Brooklyn, in Staten Island, up and down stairs, blah, 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 in the subway. And I had degraded my hip down. So it was the perfect opportunity for me to sit on the internet and just talk and make money that way. And it ran its course. I can't do that anymore. I got to get back out there. I got to start using my hands again. And I need to make real money. So, I mean, if you wanted to summarize it down to that, also the economic climate. Who's buying $400 worth of wax at a clip? Actually, technically, there's a lot of people, but do you want to be their dealer? If I know that they are waiting for a paycheck in order to place an order, do I want to be the person to say, okay, yeah, give me your credit card number and I'll run it at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon to make sure that your paycheck hits? I don't want to contribute to that either.
Like there's certain lines that you don't want to cross, you know, like there's just those certain things that everybody experiences. I remember in COVID, as I was waking up, there were people that were using their stimulus checks because they had them like in the US and also in Canada. And they would use that to pay for more coaching. And then they would post about it like it was a good thing. And that really, like, it really got under my skin. I'm like, this isn't right. Of course, it wasn't enough to get me out like right away, but it was just one of those things. Did you ever experience anything like that in Scentsy? Anybody, you know, since we're talking about this, like waiting for somebody's paycheck, was there ever that conversation, like sell your children's old toys to, you know, purchase more products or get to an event?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the first times that I felt icky about being a leader of people that were different from me is that I did have a downline who the night before, it was August 31st, and she spent about $600 or $700 on her own website to promote in that month because she didn't understand how it worked. And I said, so on September 1st, the new incentive started, but she wanted to promote that month and she wasn't understanding. I was saying to her, let it happen organically. And listen, in my evilness, I probably would have pushed her the following month because then I would have gotten points because I had a downline who promoted, right? But because she didn't understand the compensation plan and because she didn't understand the incentive program, she just wanted that star consultant title. She wanted it. And I said, if you buy it, you're not earning it. You're buying your title. And she was, I don't care, I want it. And the next morning I saw that she had promoted before midnight the night before, and she had lost out on like 10,000 points for the incentive program, and I lost out on a trip to Hawaii and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I said to my husband, son of a bitch, she doesn't understand. If she didn't wait seven hours, we would have been going to Hawaii together. And then I'm like, but why do I care so much? I don't want to care that much. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, and then I knew that she was older and she was retired. And who the fuck are you to spend $700 on wax? Like, okay, and I don't want to judge, but how could I not? I know what's going on. It's terrible. I knew that people were spending a lot of money during those stimulus checks, and I was a different person, and I didn't take advantage of it. And I didn't say spend your stimulus check, but I said, well, you're home all the time, right? So you might as well make your house smell good.
Oh, so many of us have. I mean, we've all done this stuff, you know, like being in MLM to like one degree or another. It's just, I think it's really this is really refreshing to talk to you about it because you're so real and not, and addressing this stuff that's really uncomfortable that sometimes it's just people just don't want to talk about. And I don't think everybody has to, but when you have that kind of fierceness where you're able to, it really helps just kind of blow the doors open on what this is all about.
I'm glad that I'm out, and I'm glad that I can now reflect on it from the outside of the box, because when you're in the box, you can't see the box. When you're outside the box, you can see the box. And I'm very thankful for you. I look forward to when you cover that end of month video every single month. I think it was last month. I got out of work early and I walked in my kitchen. I walked in my living room at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you went live at like 3:05. And I was like, get a cocktail, sit on the couch. Julie's coming. It was awesome. And I listened to the whole 6 hours, 5 hours. It was great.
That's so awesome. I gotta say, like, people in Scentsy are just so cool. Like, I've talked to so many, and then just when they've been on, you know, the live stream chatting and deprogramming, or they're making YouTube videos, they're still in, like, there's just such a good community of people, you know.
Well, Scentsy is easy to make fun of. In my group of Scentsy consultants, in my group of really true friends, not necessarily my team, because there were people outside of my team, we would do what you do, but we would do it privately. Do you remember Marco Polo? Did you use Marco Polo? That app, right? The walkie-talkie app, right? So we would be on Marco Polo and be like, get a load of this bullshit of Dan holding up the phone like this. Are you kidding me? Does he not know what StreamYards is? Do they not understand? How are we not the CEOs of a multi-billion-dollar, or at least $1 billion company, and we know how software works? And so I understand that they want to remain relatable, because they're, you know, the consultants are generally 30 and over, and a lot of them are older, okay? But Jesus, it really, it shows a sense of desperation on their part, that they so want to be relatable that they're going to make themselves look foolish. Not foolish, naive, let's say naive. And just not knowing that the lighting is bad to pick up a warmer and show. Why are you having a spotlight down on a light bulb? Shut the light off when you turn on the light, you know? I've done videos in my bathroom because it's got good lighting. People don't know it's the bathroom, but, you know, because I want to sell something. Listen, I don't work there. I would. I would have, I should say.
Do you have any words for people that are exiting Scentsy? What would you like to tell them?
Oh, the friction is with you. It's not with the process. You can quit. You can walk away. You can dial it back. Somebody commented on your video when you were doing the live last week, named Joshua. And he had been in Scentsy for 13 years, and he left 2 weeks ago. And that was, well, funny enough, and I did tell him this, I said, you leaving Scentsy is emotional for me, because we were both in Scentsy. I was in Scentsy 10 years, he was in Scentsy 13 years, right? And I would see him at every event, and he is the sweetest, most genuine, kindest person in the world. And I said, you quitting is you being Josh. That's you, you know, like, you're being genuine, you're being true to yourself. I love that about you. I wish you well, but please don't lose my phone number if you need anything. And it can be, it's not as difficult as you think. No matter how deep you think that you're into Scentsy, it's not as difficult as you think to be able to walk away. All you have to do is email the compliance team. So you have to sit with it. That's not them. Scentsy doesn't care. Scentsy going down anyway. They know it. Why do you think they're making candles? If they could earn money on making caskets for everybody, they would do it. They don't care about us. They don't. They say that they do, but they don't. And because they try to convince us so much that they love us, that tells me that it's an act and it's a put on, and I don't believe that. Now, a lot of the people in Scentsy are Mormon, and they pride themselves on being very honest. And I think, just like I thought, I think that they do think that they're doing a good thing, sort of. But they're also looking at the bottom line, and they're tithing a lot. And that's their choice, not mine. And I really think that people who are thinking about it, that you can reach out to anybody. I have never said I don't have time to talk to you. I've had people come, contact me and say, I want to talk to you about it. I'm like, oh, sure, no problem. I'm just not on, I'm not making big, bold videos like you are,
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing about people that have left, where it's like if you have some kind of connection, there's that people feel, oh, I can reach out to them. They've already left. Oh, I can, talk to them. Just even there was a woman, her name is Jenny Wild. She was in Monate, and she was one of the first people that reached out to me when I had begun speaking out. And she had said, if you ever need this place to just yell into the void, like I'm here, just do it. And sometimes that's all somebody needs, it doesn't need to be, like these big videos or these long live streams or even making content. Just listening to someone is so important.
Yeah. And to understand and to empathize and to help them come up with their own strategy to leave, because the strategy that I use is probably not right for anybody else. That's what worked for me. I loved walking away and not having to answer any questions. And there were a couple of people who did contact me and say, why'd you do that? And I said, it's personal. Because why should I go into anything? My husband got fired, so I have to make more money. You know what? Come hit up my YouTube channel in 8 months, and I'll tell you the whole story. I don't know. I just, it's my business, right? Business, meaning it's only my business. It's none of your business. That kind of thing. So, yeah, I would hope that my son was about to walk by. Also, that's funny. No, he went to the bathroom. Anyway, I welcome anybody to reach out to me if you wanted to talk. My email is metallicamom@outlook.com. I'm also on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. Just look up Metallica Mom anywhere, and that's who I am on all social medias. And I am not going to tell you that you need to leave Scentsy, and I know that it's weird for me to be on Julie's channel and say that, but I am going to try to, if you wanted strategy, I can sort of help you with that. Or if you want to try to figure out how to stay in Scentsy and be happy, I'm not going to help you with that. That's somebody else needs to do that. That's somebody who's in Scentsy, who's invested in Scentsy. I'm not invested in Scentsy anymore.
I think that's awesome. It's like just setting boundaries. This is what I'm here for. Do you have any last words?
Like last words.
Okay, this sounds kind of like funeral. Okay, I don't mean it like that. Anything that we haven't talked about, or something that you just like to say.
Well, speaking of funeral, one of my upline, when they found out that I quit, they said, when does your account go inactive? And I said, oh, I think it's in a couple of days it's going to go inactive. And she literally said, I'll mourn for longer than that. And I went, you're going to mourn me? I'm not dying. Am I? It was just very strange. So my final words would be, it doesn't have to be final words. It's not that serious. Don't lighten up a little bit. You know what I mean? I know that it was serious at one time, but it might not be so serious if you step outside the box and take a look at the box. The box might not be have the thickest walls that you think that it does. It might just be saran wrap, and you can just whatever.